A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon keep, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The dungeon labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom. A blind knight that uses echolocation.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Gary Gotzo, the voice of the FIS, and welcome to the P1 broadcasting coverage of Round 3 of Season 1 of the Porsche Super Series in support of the Formula Indy Series, coming to you from Misano Circuit in Italy, just from the shores of the Adriatic Sea, about a mile and a half away from this circuit. Joining me in the booth is Stevie Larkin. Stevie, welcome to Italy. A track that, we know the Fanatec GT Series goes here. We know MotoGP goes here. And we know that there's a Formula 3 track record here, and as well as Formula E as well. But we're going to see a rare case of the IndyCars here later tonight. But the undercard tonight will be the Porsche Super Cup with about a minute left here in this warm-up. Shall we get into the starting lineup?
Indeed we will, and buongiorno everyone. Welcome to the beautiful coast of Rimini. Definitely a track that it's going to be challenging for the IndyCars for sure, especially since I'm certain a lot of these drivers are not particularly familiar with the Misano World Circuit, named Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli, named in honor of the MotoGP racer who passed away in 2011, a mere week after the passing of Dan Weldon, no less. But this is a very challenging track from what I've been able to glean. A lot of tricky brake zones here. So these guys have got to be very careful on their brakes. Some quick corners here, some tight-ish chicanes and hairpins. So it's going to be a fun little challenge for these guys, and a quick little learning experience for the ones here that are going to be continuing on to IndyCar competition. And we got a little bit of a challenge thrown by the championship leader, no less, as we go into the starting grid. Checker flag flies on the warm-up, but only 7 cars starting off this race tonight. On the pole will be Sam McDougall, who has had some very strong performances the last couple of races. Starts on the pole in the number 13 machine. They'll be alongside Bacon Zelenka in the 45. Ryan Thomas will be starting off third in the number 32 machine alongside Jeff Mathis. James Watson will be 5th alongside the championship leader and two-time race winner, the winner of the first 2 races of the season, Dalton Zavadil. He is going to start 6th. He actually said in the chat if anyone was opposed to him doing a little last to first challenge to make it a bit more interesting. And you do you, Dalton. You're definitely going to do that. But alongside him, shotgun on the field is going to be Gavin Sanders, who was very fast last time out at Bathurst, only to have some issues later on in the going. So let's see if Italy treats them a bit better than Australia does, as everyone starts to get themselves situated on the grid here. Half-hour race, of course. Small field here tonight, but small field could still pack some good stuff. Let's see what they do. And actually, as they do so, I'm looking at Gavin Sanders is actually disconnected so far. So 6 cars take the grid. Revs coming up. And we are green in Misano. And already I'm seeing Dalton Zavadil making some bold moves already up to 3rd place as Sam McDougall leads into turn 1. Ooh, very close there as Bacon Zaleka gets close to the back end of that 13 machine. McDougall leads the way through the first chicane. Zelenka now trying to hold off a fast-charging Dalton Zavadil off to a lightning-fast start. Zavadil was turning laps about a second faster than the fastest drivers in practice. And he is already showing it so far as they head down the first straightaway here. It's going to be a fairly open left-hander here. Kind of like, ooh, as Zelenka goes way wide on the brakes, locks them up, and loses a lot of positions there. So move Dalton Zavadil up into 2nd. As McDougall now has got that threatening image of Dalton Zavadil as they head down the back straightaway here. There's going to be a fast kink, and then 2 more kinks as they get on the brakes. This is going to be one of the trickiest brake zones they have to deal with all night. Getting it wound down here all the way out on the green. And gets it down there very well. Then a fast left. And McDougall and Zavadil both pulling away very well from Ryan Thomas, who's started 3rd, staying in 3rd, but with different people surrounding him. And Sam McDougall leads that first lap. Dalton Zavadil up into 2nd. Ryan Thomas, Bacon Zelenka, Jeff Mathis, your top 5. And Zavadil got a lot of traction underneath him here as McDougall defends to the inside here into this tight hairpin. And holds him off for now. Dalton Zavadil trying to set up something down the first of the straightaways. Ooh, big wiggle there from Dalton Zavadil. Very nice save. And onto the brakes here. Zavadil making up some time on there. As I'm looking behind, Bacon Zelenka putting pressure on Ryan Thomas for 3rd. Zelenka getting his foot down. And the same can be said for Bacon and for Zavadil as well. Zavadil not quite there just yet as they head into this tricky section here. And now, ooh, actually got very close there. Thought he had a look going, not quite, but looking behind. Bacon Zelenka has actually gotten by Ryan Thomas and clears him. So Zelenka back up into 3rd, Ryan Thomas to 4th. And Zavadil still putting the pressure on Sam McDougall as they head down that front straightaway. 1/100th of a second at the stripe as Zavadil got a great launch off the corner and takes that lead away.
Interesting enough on that lap. McDougall had the purple lap.
That is definitely, yeah, he did. So it may have been that Zavadil got an off-track penalty there, because that usually does eliminate you from getting your fast lap counted. So Dalton Zavadil takes over the lead of this race, and Zelenka up into 3rd as everyone getting themselves comfortable. And the question I have here so far is not only the battle for 4th place, Ryan Thomas versus Jeff Mathis, but also can Bacon Zelenka get up, catch up to Sam McDougall here and challenge them for 2nd.
And this battle between Thomas and Mathis is starting to get a little tight.
Yeah, that is true. And this lead battle is still pretty tight as well. McDougal is not throwing it in. But Mathis and Ryan Thomas in this battle for 4th place getting a bit chippy as well.
Purple
As
lap
Dalton
for
Zavadil.
Zavadil goes purple that time. So he's starting to set that pace up front now.
Yeah, that's a clear track in front of him. As they go into this double right-hander before the straightaway here, sets up kind of slow there in the middle, but setting up for that launch and that left-hander down the back straightaway. But Sam McDougal still in the wheel tracks of Dalton Zavadil so far. Zavadil starting to pull away a bit, but McDougal still holding decent pace. Meanwhile, I'm looking back at 4th place. Mathis starting to close up on Ryan Thomas. About 0.2 faster last time around was Jeff Mathis' number 54. And Bacon Zelenka isn't really pulling away from them either, so Thomas, Mathis, and co, they could definitely put some pressure on Bacon Zelenka. And there's a bit of smoke back there. James Watson goes wide as they head down the back straightaway. Gathers it up, though. Little bit of dirt, but not too much. Oh, as Mathis runs way wide there in that tricky braking zone there. Trying to stay with Ryan Thomas.
Another purple lap for Zavadil.
37.6, very fast times there. For reference, Sam McDougal last time around was a 38.1, so around about half a second faster was Dalton Zavadil that time around. And they in turn are about a second faster than Bacon Zelenka in 3rd place. And they're running pretty even time-wise with Ryan Thomas and Jeff Mathis. And Mathis again running well wide there. And I think on that last time around, he did get a slowdown warning there for running wide there in that tricky brake zone coming off the back straightaway, and Mathis is around. Jeff Mathis spins it through that left-hander coming off the first straightaway, and there he goes, gets it back up again, but that is a lot of time lost. Still hasn't lost a position to James Watson, but Watson sees him starting to close in a bit.
That looks like a little case of heavy acceleration with hot tires there in a slippery zone, but he holds off Watson for the time being. Actually, Watson had a bit of a moment. Yeah,
Watson having a little bit of an exploration figuring out this place. Yeah, this is a track that a lot of people definitely would not be the most familiar with, especially in open wheel cars that are like faster than a Formula 3 car. You would not be used to racing here. F3 raced here in the past, and of course things like the iRacing F3 series and the Super Formula Lights. They've seen some competition here, of course, on the iRacing service in official series, and also the Porsches too. So these are cars that would be used to it. The drivers, perhaps not quite as much. But of course, most people familiar with real-world racing would know it as the home of the Misano E-Prix, a Formula E race that was held here in the 2023-24 season. And that race was run by Ollie Rowland. The only time they have run here thus far, I'm not sure if they are on the docket to return. Looking at the 2024-25 season, it does not look like this track will return here. And it was kind of an interesting turn for Formula E, because mostly they like to focus on street circuits. That was kind of one of the goals that they had when the series started about 10 years ago. Geez, was it really 10 years ago Formula E started? But most people, yeah, like I still can't believe Formula E was 10 years ago. And Say what you will about it. I got to admire it persisting to this day with all the struggles it has had. But the people that know this track the best know it for racing not on 4 wheels but on 2. This is the circuit home to the San Marino Motorcycle Grand Prix. Of course, it gets that name. It gets the name because this track in the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy, it's in the province of Rimini, and pretty much within spitting distance of the Republic of San Marino, an independent country within Italy, entirely surrounded by Italy. There's a lot of complicated reasons for that I know the history of, but I'm sure I'd bore you to tears if I talked about it. But
can't be any worse than the Vatican, really.
That's probably true. But because of that reason, a lot of races both here and at the Imola circuit, the Autodromo Enzo E. Dino Ferrari, home of the what's now the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. When that race was first held, well, actually the second time it was held in Formula One, because it was supposed to be a replacement for Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. They ran it for 1 year. They liked it a lot, but they wanted to go to Monza again. So Monza was the home of the Italian Grand Prix, but they kept Imola on the calendar as the San Marino Grand Prix, named after the tiny republic that it is near. The same deal here at Misano with the motorcycle side of things, because the Italian Motorcycle Grand Prix was held here several times in the 80s and 90s, and then it was the San Marino Grand Prix from 85 to 87, and then it came back permanently from 2007 to the present day, because again, it's right near San Marino. And of course, on the Formula One side of things, Imola did come back after a hiatus in 2006, but it's now the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, named after the Italian region and not the tiny country that I think a lot of people wouldn't have known it had it not been for these events.
And for all those of you watching at home, this is why I have Stevie Larkamp on these broadcasts with me.
Yes.
As someone that is not as versed, being that I'm 100% American, I don't pay attention to much of the Formula One stuff anymore. You need someone that knows what he's talking about there, and man, does he know what he's talking about. But we got Zavadil still your leader with about 17 minutes and 40 seconds left to play. McDougall second, Zelinka third, Thomas fourth, Watson fifth, Mathis now sixth. If you enjoy the coverage of the Formula Indy Series here on P1 and respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so don't miss out on future P1 iRacing broadcasts. This is the last one for us this week. We move into the weekend where it'll be Luis Gonzalez and myself with the Classic IndyCar Series on their winter schedule, their penultimate race of their little winter mini series, as we go to Legacy Phoenix. That's 3 p.m. on Sunday. Join us then, but that is our schedule coming up here on P1. Excuse me. And but right now you are watching the Porsche Super Series here with the Formula Indy Series Racing League, as we are now 16 minutes and 41 seconds into this 30-minute timed race. And if you wait a little bit later tonight, you will witness the EchoBlade Grand Prix of the Adriatic, as the IndyCars will be the main event on this circuit here in a little bit.
I'd imagine that with open wheelers racing here, I will note the overall track record that one of the actually looking through a few different circuit configurations, because of course it's not a European racing circuit of old. The track actually opened in 1972, and it wouldn't be a track that old if it didn't go through some layout changes. And the current record on the layout we're driving here was set by Harold Smelgmith. I always get that name bad. A driver from Latvia racing in the Formula Renault 3.5s, no less, in 2024, 1 minute 20.042. I'm going to be curious to see what the Indy cars can do here. And I'm looking at one of the... we actually got some, actually a very familiar name for the overall lap record for the original circuit here, which existed from 1972 to 1992, and then it changed quite substantially. It got a fair bit twistier. The overall lap record, Roberto Moreno in 1984, driving in Formula 2, 1 minute 8.5.
Former IndyCar pilots.
Indeed. And I'm also seeing for my F1 driver, my F1 fans out there, the second configuration of this track, 1993 to 2006, that one was used. It was half a mile longer, so naturally it's a bit slower. 119.697 set by Pastor Maldonado in 2006. Yeah, anyone who's watched Formula One in the early 2010s knows why that name has been received on the guy. An about 10-second lead, I will note, for Dalton Zavidal right now. And Jeff Mathis has disconnected, is out of the race, just pulled on the pit road.
Yep.
I guess Mathis was having some major struggles, but is now out of this race. Number 54, calling it quits. And getting close to the halfway point, Zavidal... Yeah, definitely put some excitement here at the start of this race, but definitely stamping his authority on the series. So 3 different tracks we've been to so far: Fuji Speedway in Japan, Bathurst in Australia, and now Misano here in Italy. And Dalton Zavidal has been conquering it all here in the Porsche Super Series. Very solid stuff. And it's going to be a bit of a close-up game. It's looking to be a bit of a tight affair right now for second, as Zelenka about half a second faster last time around than Sam McDougall. So you may well see, like, they've been trading lap times back and forth with each other. Like, one McDougall will gain ground, then Zelenka will. So trying to get a rhythm here for both of them, but I think Zelenka is really starting to get some fast laps down here. You gotta keep an eye out. About 2.5 seconds now is the gap between Zelenka and McDougall in this battle for second.
Here is your remaining schedule for the Porsche Super Series. After this, we'll take a couple weeks off, go to Sebring, then Laguna Seca, Sachsenring, Spa, VIR, and Road Atlanta. We will finish up there for the 9-round inaugural season of the Porsche Super Series here in the FIS. And there you see it as $5 entry fee. And if you're interested, sign up on the FIS Discord. Link is in the description. That battle for second is now getting closer.
Indeed it is. Zelenka's really been clicking off some good laps so far. Looking at them pretty consistently in the 37s last couple of times around, as McDougall 39.2 last time, 38.1 for Bacon Zelenka. Very fast stuff. Zelenka's catching up to the back of McDougall. This battle for second is going to get interesting.
Getting ready
to enter the halfway point.
Yep, and getting ready actually to enter the final third of this race. 11 minutes, 20 seconds left to play here. Last time by, Zavidal set another purple lap.
137.1. Zavidal. I wouldn't be surprised if we see 36s at the end of this night with the lower fuel levels in these cars. Tires are definitely going to be a bit of an issue here. Not
and
exactly
there's the pass for second. Sorry, Zelenka gets around McDougall.
And yeah, definitely did. In fact, McDougall looks like they locked a brake.
Yeah, went very
locked
wide
up the
there.
Tires going into that left-hander, and there goes Zelenka. So Bacon Zelenka started second, back up to second again after a bit of a rough start. McDougal, though, I don't think he's going to be taking all of this lying down, as staying fairly close for the time being. Seems to have recovered some pace. And I am noticing they're getting a bit close to that that green AstroTurf on the inside of the corners there. So I'm wondering if the off tracks are a bit more lenient here than they would be in other places, because these guys are really using and abusing it. Seems like they're still holding pace pretty well with each other. Sorry for the quiet moment there. But McDougal's still fairly close right now to Bacon Zelenka. Zelenka isn't really running away from this at the time being, as we are firmly in the latter third of this race. Dalton Zavadil, once again, really putting on a clinic with these guys. And
another purple lap.
Yeah, there it is. 36.9. That was what I was looking for. I had a feeling it was coming at some point, under 137. So Dalton Zavadil, once again, stamping the authority on the series, it would seem. Very, very solid stuff. Obviously, a lot more experience with tin tops than some of the people that he's competing against. And really seeming to enjoy this Porsche 911 Cup car. And it's a very fun car to drive, too. Challenging, fun to race, and you can see why it's popular with a lot of leagues, particularly a lot of European leagues.
Dougal closing within a half a second.
Still there, still within earshot of Bacon Zelenka. Even with Zelenka putting in a fast lap last time around, it seems like that gap has been erased. Sam McDougal finding some pace here, or forcing Zelenka into a bit of a psych out moment here as they head onto the throw out the brakes here into this very tricky section here through this hairpin. And then left, fairly fast left-hander, third gear through here. And looking in the cockpit right now, Sam McDougal still third gear here through this final corner. Fairly fast first chicane here. Still holding third. And up into fourth, in fact, down to second, I should say. Through the second part there, that's definitely the tightest part of it. And then a sort of double hairpin here. In a way, kind of like Moss Corner at Mossport.
Yeah.
Though not quite as tricky, I would say.
Yeah, we actually got an aerial shot of that complex there, and that's a pretty good comparison. Like a double apex. Kind of get in there, hold your wheel at a certain angle. It can make it through both turns. Looks like there's a lot of grip on this pavement too. This tarmac looks fairly grippy as well. So I wonder if how the IndyCars, especially on the alternate tires, are going to fare.
Yeah, like you got a lot of grip to work with, especially with fresh rubber, but that could definitely eat away at it as the run goes on, unless it rubbers in fairly well. McDougal still close, but not quite close enough, going into that tight section here. Very tricky fourth gear section there, going down to second gear, first gear, in fact. And then up into third. a bit wide there for Bacon Zelenka, in fact. Down to third for the final corner. Very, I noticed those rumble strips there. I never like those. You got to be very careful with them. And in fact, Zelenka getting perhaps a bit nervous right there. Zelenka has got Sam McDougall all over the back. Closing.
And nothing against anybody else on the racetrack. This is just where the battle is right now. So we're going to keep it here.
It's a 20-second lead that Zavadil has over these two. And these guys, in turn, have a 20-second lead over Ryan Thomas in fourth. And they have a 30-second lead over James Watson. So this is where...
Sam tried to send it on Bacon and just blew the braking zone.
Oh, just massive lockup there, and that will likely put the dagger in the effort for second place. Still got a podium up for grabs, of course. The podium is theirs for the taking, but it was so close to being one step higher up.
Yeah, watch this right there. He just tried to send it a little bit later and had to lock it up and take some evasive maneuvers to prevent him getting the back end of his teammate, of their teammate, the teams together, excuse me. I'm trying to say. Oh, my goodness. 3 minutes, 50 seconds left to play here, and Zavadil is storming away now with this thing, and the battle for second has seemed to have cooled down at the moment. I don't know if it has enough time to heat back up.
Yeah, this is going to be... It's going to be tricky. Still within visual range, obviously, of Bacon Zelenka, but I don't think it's going to be enough time with 26 minutes run at the moment. Ooh, Zavadil, I just noticed a big wiggle there coming on the front straightaway. But this, but it's definitely one place I've noticed. Turn number 8, and Coriccia, I believe they call it. I am not fluent in Italian, obviously, but Coriccia, I believe it is. That corner has definitely been a tricky one, too. And then turns 12, 13, and 14, the one I was talking about called Caro. That's definitely a tricky break zone here. So we got two pretty tricky break zones here to work with, but one of them's been catching them out more than the others. And I'll also note, the one that I compared to Moss is called Rio, as in river.
All right, 2 minutes, 33 seconds left to play. Depending on when we start this last lap, upcoming lap, this might be the last lap. I
think it's going to be 2 to go.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 2 because he's going to cross here with about 2:15, 2:16 left to play. So another lap for sure, and then probably one after.
2 to go. Yep, with 1:37 lap times, it's going to be 2 laps to go for Dalton Zavadil. And once again, what a stellar performance so far. Dalton Zavadil obviously really enjoys the car, and as I believe he mentioned, he has had experience in this thing before. And a lot of the drivers we're competing with mostly are cutting their chops in the open wheelers. And as we all know, open wheel and sports cars, very different animals. You can definitely learn the tricks of the trade in both of them. It's not unusual. It's just tricky to do so sometimes, especially when you focus on open wheelers as this league and its drivers typically do.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. 1:28 left to play here. Dalton Zavadil looking at another win here in this series. He's about a lap and a half away from completing the three-peat to start this season here in the PSS. Don't go anywhere after this race. We will interview our winner, and then after the interview, we'll go to a brief intermission and then come back for tonight's main event, the Grand Prix of the Adriatic, here sponsored by EchoBlade, as the IndyCars will go about 125 miles around the world circuit here. So again, thanks for joining us. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not done so already. And do want to thank the good guys at Sunset Arctic Games for being the sponsor of tonight's race. White flag in the air. If you want to learn more about EchoBlade, we'll run some ads during the intermission, but it's a type of game that you'll definitely want to check out on Steam. Link is in the description. less than a lap here for Dalton Zavadil to go 3-4-3. The start of the PSS season here in the FIS.
Zelenka still holding about 20 seconds behind Zavadil. Zavadil, I think, slowed up a little bit last time around. Definitely got a bit of a comfort zone underneath him. And McDougall about 5 seconds in arrears of Bacon Zelenka so far after that that moment that took them out of contention for second place, but currently running third. Always a solid result. As Zavadil heads down the back straightaway for the last time.
And the next time you will see these Porsche cars here in the FIS will be at Sebring here in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that one's going to be definitely going to draw out a bigger field here. Sebring, of course, a very known commodity in both sports cars and even in IndyCar competition. I've seen quite a few iRacing IndyCar races happen at Sebring, and I've even raced in them myself. But Dalton Zavadil on the way to Sebring goes through Italy and dominates. Veni Vidi Vici, Dalton Zavadil.
And a purple lap to boot right at the very end.
There it is, 36.919. Bacon Zelenka, 2 corners to go for second place. Very solid effort. And now Sam McDougall started on pole, but came home third at the end of it. Not the result they would have hoped for, but definitely a solid one.
he wanted to end that one early.
Yeah, that is I guess I definitely understand the frustration after all that, but kind of an extreme reaction to it, wouldn't you say?
And here comes Ryan Thomas to wrap it up, but we'll get in today's final standings here from the World Circuit here in Italy. Just about 1.5 miles from the shoreline of the Adriatic Sea. And Ryan Thomas, he'll cross the line, make his time official. There he goes. Zavadil, your winners. Zelenka second, McDougall third, Thomas fourth, Watson fifth, Mathis sixth, and without even taking a lap, Gavin Sanders is going to get credited for seventh. Maybe wonder Gavin saw how small the lineup was tonight and says, you know, I'm going to go probably get some extra practice in on the IndyCar.
I mean, I wouldn't blame him, honestly, especially when that's the big event we got going there, and he's going to be a major competitor in it.
All right, and let's go in and check out the interview room here and get a word from Dalton here. And we're watching the replay of his very aggressive and quick start that really got him in position to really pull off another dominant win. We'll check out the interview room here real quick. And there he is. We'll bring him up right now. Don, congratulations. Another dominant win. Tried to make it a little bit more challenging for you today by starting in the rear, but by the time you got to turn one, you're already in third place. A couple more passes, and you kind of ran away with this thing. Talk about your race and the choice to kind of start in the rear. I don't really think it mattered too much.
Yeah, I did exactly what you said. I was like, okay, I want to try to make this a little bit more interesting, and yeah, it was worth it for a few laps, and then yeah, I kind of just took off and just decided to kind of chase some lap times and do some testing at that point. So, but yeah, it was, I mean, obviously a good result. Setup was obviously really, really strong. So big thanks to P1 Docs for that and the team and everything. So nothing to really complain about there.
Go ahead, Stevie.
Yeah, and obviously 3 different circuits we've been to so far, and they've been quite different ones as well. Misano kind of has been like an unknown factor for a lot of people in this league. Would you say that you've had some time to figure this track out in previous races, or is this one was a new experience for you as well?
I hopped on this track for the first time 30 minutes before the session started. So.
Well, that answers that question.
Well, a guy that adapts pretty quickly. Any other shout-outs, friends, family, sponsors that you want to say hi to? Off to a great start this season. By far and away the points leader after 3 rounds, going to Sebring next here in 2 weeks. I'm sure you got some people that you want to say hi to at home.
Hi, Mom. And then big shout out to the Reptiles and Amphibians Conservation Center of the Rockies, of course. So always doing a great job up there. So thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, congratulations. We'll see you in 2 weeks at Sebring, but a big one today, and we'll see you then.
See ya.
All right, Steve, final thoughts on today here with the PSS guys before we head off to the FIS IndyCars for the main event here just after the intermission. What'd you think of it?
Overall, I think it was pretty good little appetizer for some of these guys, especially with this track that a lot of people are not too familiar with. Some of them will adapt to it quickly. For some, it's just a gentle learning curve. Others, it'll probably be a learning brick wall to the face. This track definitely will be perhaps familiar in some regards, but definitely a new challenge for a lot of the guys in the open wheel series. And the Porsche guys have definitely shown that. There's been a lot of differentials in speed and a lot of adaptability on the fly these guys had to exhibit here. They did so pretty well. And now let's see what the open wheel guys can do.
All right, we'll stand by. We're going to go to intermission, but you are watching the FIS on P1, and we'll be right back for the Grand Prix of the Adriatic right after this break.
A blind night that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom. A blind night that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom. A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The dungeon labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom. A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The dungeon labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom. A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The dungeon labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom. A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The dungeon labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom. A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The dungeon labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom. A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The dungeon labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom. A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have. A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The dungeon labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
Well, welcome back, everyone. Once again, Gary Gazzo, Stephen Larkamp here in Italy for tonight's main event. This is round 4 of Season 7 of the Formula Indy Series, and we're here at the Misano World Circuit for the EchoBlade Grand Prix of the Adriatic. And we'll turn it over to you, Stevie. We are already looking at some lightning fast and track record setting lap times here on this circuit with these Indy cars.
We're already seeing that so far, and of course, I gotta say, buongiorno, everybody. It's a beautiful day here on the Rimini coast here, and a very nice track to see IndyCars race here for the first time that I've ever seen them race here, for one thing. But this track definitely will throw a challenge to a lot of these drivers. With 35 of them on the 36 of them, I should say, on the grid, we're already seeing a pretty big disparity in terms of lap times here. So some drivers are learning this one pretty well. Others have a little bit of a struggle going on here. But Misano learning a new track here, especially one that's not too familiar in the open wheel side of things. And as I mentioned on the Porsche broadcast earlier, this is a track that's more familiar to the people that race on 2 wheels. This is well known as a motorcycle racing track. It's the home of the MotoGP San Marino Grand Prix, of course, named as such because it's near the tiny country within a country of San Marino. But this track definitely going to be a bit of a challenge here. Open wheelers have rather sparsely raced here, but the ones that have, the current record, the overall record on this track is set by a Formula Renault 3.5 car driven by Harold Sliegelmitz of Latvia in the Boss GP series, 1 minute 20.0. We're already seeing 1 minute 18.7 for the current provisional pole sitter, Titus Sherlock, the winner last time out at Bathurst, and already got some very close competitors behind. Tanner DeFabis, the winner of the season opener at Fuji. Kostek Solwich is looking very fast too. Michael Costello, Sebastian Gianni. These guys are all learning this track very well. And by the way, Kevin Bonomi very quick as well in 6th position as it stands. So we're definitely going to be seeing some guys that you may not expect start to come to the fore here as we learn this new circuit.
And there's last week's winner right there in 14th spot. Gavin Sanders is now 2nd all-time in most wins here.
Yeah, Sanders. Yeah, Sanders was one of those that we predicted would ditch the Porsche race, which indeed he did. To get more practice in for the IndyCar race, but it looks like the first 2 qualifying laps he did were not particularly good ones. Down a 19.5. The pole sitter is at an 18.7, and right now Sanders in 14th place. Definitely a big struggle there. And another driver, 2 of them I'll point out, Evagoras Papasavis, one of the young USF 2000 drivers in the field, is currently 12th with a 19.5, and with a 19.4 in 10th place is Caleb Bensi. So Bensi also having a bit of struggle, and Cameron Dance in 8th. That's not a place you expect to see Cameron Dance, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge here, because this track, there's definitely some good overtaking opportunities, but they can be few and far between.
Let's get into the points before we get into today's starting lineup. Here are the FIS points going into today's race. Titus survived a very bad Texas race, and he is still our points leader. He is 98 points over Caleb Bensi's 91. DeFabis is 3rd with 88. And then there's a bit of a fall off to the next group of drivers. Mundell, Flaum, Reval, Allen, Kita, Papasavas, and Watson. That is your top 10, but from 4th to 10th, you could cover those guys with the blanket. Right now, the first 3 are kind of starting to pull away from the remainder of the top 10. Really quick, amateur points. Reval is your amateur leader by 3 over Allen. And then Schlosser is a distant 3rd, but a lot can still happen. We're still in the early stages of the amateur championship. We see Herman, Claiborne, Cook, Rutherford, Miglin, Ogden, and Russell, the remainder of your top 10. Here are your team points. Eclipse Blue, Eclipse Competition 1 and 2, Vision 1 and 3rd, Stowe Maroon 4th, TWR Gold 5th, and there you see PBR Motorsports, Olaf Gemini Racing, and it's probably OLF Gemini Racing, is in 7th. Melamo with their Legacy and Dynasty squads in 8th and 9th, and TWR Grape in 10th. And a real quick reminder, and we'll get into tonight's starting lineup here. From Italy, there is your remainder of the schedule for this season. In 2 weeks, we will go to Sebring, then Laguna Seca to wrap up the first half of the season. Then we'll launch the second half of the season on an oval at Milwaukee, the first time we've ever been to a 1 mile oval in this league's history. Sachsenring in round 8, Spa round 9 on the bike course in Spa. That should be interesting. VIR, we've been there before for round 10, Nashville. Another super speedway on the schedule for this season, oval. That is round 11th, and then we will wrap up at Road Atlanta, where this series has had a very interesting previous race there in the past, where it was almost running dark there. But hopefully we won't have that problem again for round 12 in the early portion of April. So still a long ways to go in this championship. And while we're here, let's just get in today's starting lineup here from Italy for the Grand Prix of the Adriatic. Go right ahead, Stevie.
And the front row, once again, 2 young fast guys. Titus Sherlock, the winner at Bathurst, alongside Tanner DeFavis, the winner at Fuji. 2 race winners starting alongside each other. Who can get this one? Kostek Solwich will be 3rd alongside Michael Costello in 4th. Very good run for Kostek there. Row number 3, Sebastian Gianni will be 5th. Kevin Bonomi, a very good run in qualifying for that 75 machine. He's going to start 6th. Row number 4 will be Logan Spatz, number 3, and Cameron Dance in the number 6. Can Dance make up from a bit of a rough qualifying? Tristan Moss in the 41 will be 9th, and Caleb Bensi rounding out the top 10. A bit of a struggle there, but I think Bensi could probably figure a few things out. Hunter Engraf will be 11th, another fast guy kind of mire back there, alongside Evagoras Papasavas in the 71. Sam Karasala will be 13th alongside Gavin Sanders in the 10 and 14th. Another big effort for Gavin here. JJ Wang will be 15th alongside Brian Labarge in the number 11 and 16th. Takeshi Kita will be 17th in the 64 alongside Zach Baum in the 20. And the 10th row of the grid, Nate Siefker and Matt Johnson, the number 2 and the 04, 2 normally fast guys, again in the middle of the field. The 11th row will be Cody Claiborne and James Watson. The 12th row, Gabriella Asleen and Kyle Allen. Row number 13, Matt Schlosser and Hayden Herman. Row 14, Dan Miglin and Tommy Ruval. Row 15, Griffin Yellen and Nick Goyetti. Row 16, Joshua Rutherford and Corey Rutherford. Row 17, Christopher Hill, first of the drivers to not post a qualifying time, but a very fast one in 30, alongside Matthew Short. And the final row of the grid, Kyle Mundell and Tommy Cook. So 4 drivers have not posted qualifying times. They're going to start from the back. Christopher Hill, the most notable among them. Let's see if they can make their way through what I presume to be carnage going into the first chicane here. This is going to be a very tricky chicane. Kind of unlike what a lot of these drivers may be used to at the start of this race. 48 laps here at the Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli in the beautiful Rimini coast on the Adriatic Sea in Italy. And Sherlock wasting no time getting on the grid here, starting this race on the soft compound red tire. Of course, we always got to keep in mind here the different tire strategies guys are going to be running. Kostek Solwich looks to be one of the first drivers to start on the hards, so keep an eye out for that as the run goes on. We got some guys here starting on hards, and quite a lot around them starting on the red soft tire.
Allen, Costello, DeFabis, Goyette, Hill, Ogden, and Siefker all slated to have pit starts for this race from the Texas race penalty list. So we will see where they line up. But the whole outside of the front row, first 4 rows have not loaded in yet. There they go. Now we're just waiting for rows 1 and 2 to finish loading in. So that's it. We're going to go racing from there.
And we're going from there. Revs are coming up. Titus Sherlock's taking all on his own. Green flag flies in Italy. Titus Sherlock gets away well. Kostek Solwich looking to stay with him here as they head to turn 1 for the first time. Oh, Solwich actually had a terrible start. Falls way back through the field, actually. And Titus Sherlock is away. Looking to see who has made the most of it. It's Kevin Bonomi from 6th effectively on the grid all the way to 2nd. Very excellent start for Kevin Bonomi as everyone's scrambling to get to the position there. And Cameron Dance is off. Dance goes off in that double right-hander. Another car off as well. Trying to see who that was.
Claiborne.
Cody Claiborne, the Fish car, in trouble. Not what we wanted to see. But everyone else starting to get themselves into some semblance of order as they head to that left-hander and then go on to the back straightaway for the first time. So Titus Sherlock, Kevin Bonomi up into 2nd place. Another driver with a rough start is Logan Spath. But Sebastian Gianni now kind of stayed where he always was. Started 5th, now running 3rd actually. Very good start for Gianni. And right behind, Caleb Bensi from 10th on the grid, all the way up on the gearbox to Gianni in 4th.
Yeah, and Papasavas up 7.
Papasavas, one of the USF 2000 stars. Across the line, 12th to 5th. Very good run for the 71 machine. But Titus Sherlock around a 1.4 second gap to Kevin Bonomi, Sebastian Gianni, Caleb Bensi, and Evagoras Papasavas, your top 5.
Okay,
Logan's
so
putting Papasavas under pressure.
And we'll get on that one real quick. But we'll just to set the table here and to tell you a little bit. There you see push to pass, Bensi activating that. Our tree will show you whenever a driver uses push to pass. They have 200 seconds of push to pass they can utilize anytime during this race. So you see the red triangles next to the driver's name in the tree. That means they are on the alternate sticky tire at the moment, the red sidewall tire. So if we get a look at the car of Titus Sherlock, when he comes around the corner right here, there you see the red sidewall tires. That is the alternate tire. Right behind him is Kevin Bonomi. Bonomi has the black sidewall tires. There you see on his. That is the harder of the two compounds. So that's how you know what compounds, as Papasavas just sends it to the inside of Gianni and gets the position. So if you could tell on the tree, that's how if you could tell on the tree, that's what compounds the drivers are racing with.
And Caleb Bensi did likewise just a second earlier, and Bensi now up into 3rd, and now putting the pressure on Kevin Bonomi for 2nd place. Caleb Bensi, from a struggle in qualifying, is learning this place very quickly. Bonomi, by the way, on the hard tire, like we were saying. So that is got to be a bit of a foreboding sight to see a wild Caleb Bensi show up on soft tires early in the going. So he is going to have a lot of pace underneath him, and Papasavas is also going to be following suit. And already, I'm actually noticing some lap traffic starting to get involved here.
Whoa, boy, these guys. Whoa, we're watching right now around J.J. Wang, Hunter Ingrave, Zach Flaum, Kostik Solweg. They were all getting ready to bubble. Got 4 wide going into that corner.
Oh, boy. Yeah, this fight here.
Kita's getting caught up in this.
Solweg is in it. The 64 of Takeshi Kita is also involved. Broken front wing for Kita. But chaos already ensuing there on the run down the back straightaway. And once again, keeping an eye a bit up towards the front of the field there. Kevin Bonomi actually losing out to 2nd place there. Bensi now up into 2nd. And here comes Papasavas looking to do the same. To the inside in turn 1, Papasavas up into 3rd.
Yeah, these guys on the softer tires, they got to move now. When those tires give up, it's going to open the door for Bonomi to get those positions back. Gavin Sanders to the inside of Gianni. And he will get that position. Move Sanders now up another spot.
Yes, he is. Gavin Sanders right now 14th to from 14th to 7th so far. So 7 spots gained.
Yeah.
Gavin Sanders not quite as not quite as dynamic a start right now as Caleb Benzie, but he had a lot more ground to cover. And Sanders, again on the soft tire with a few drivers around him like Kevin Bonomi, still having to deal with those hard tires underneath him from now. That's going to be a benefit to him later on in the going. It's just how much pace is going to be lost to the soft tire runners early on in this race. And right now, Logan Spath really getting antsy behind Kevin Bonomi's number 75 there, looking for any sort of opportunity. There's a few good places to make those passes work, but you got to pick and choose them. And you got to be very careful here, especially in an open wheeler.
Well, in a country known for spicy food at times, we're going to get a real spicy battle coming up here right now. Cameron Dance, Tanner DeFabis going in the 1. It's a battle for 12. Both these guys have, DeFabis, remember, started from pit road, so he had to come off the pit. Oh, Cameron Dance goes wide.
Dance going way wide there. He's on hard tires, I will note. Tanner DeFabis starting out on the softs. So Dance had a bit of a struggle there at the start of the race there. He was off earlier on. But Tanner DeFabis, Cameron Dance, I should say, recovering fairly well from this one, especially. He's definitely got pace underneath him, but he's on hard tires to start this race. He's going to be hoping for DeFabis and company to lose grip later on this stint.
Gabriel Asley is right behind, or actually got the position on LaBarge. So move Asley up to 14th spot. A little bit further back, we do see Michael Costello. We do see Griffin Yellen, part of the Eclipse squad. As Aaron's, car on the inside. That is Dan Miglin off on with an off track.
Oh boy, Miglin trying to recover that one. Looks like a bit of damage there. I'm not too sure what happened to Miglin, but definitely got a dinged up front wing for his trouble.
Meanwhile, up front, Titus Sherlock pulls away to a 5-second. Go ahead.
Papasavas tried to stick his nose on the inside of Caleb Benzie for second place here. Benzie running a bit wide there. They got a lap car to work with, and it looks like it's a teammate of Papasavas. That is, sends it down the inside there. Bold move. He's still alongside him, though. Benzie's going to have the inside for this right-hander here. Can he hold it round? Not quite enough so far, but this lap car, the number 4 is not, I don't believe that, no,
that's Tristan Moss.
Tristan Moss, he's doing Benzie no favors here, and really proving to be a thorn there, and Papasavas trying to send it around the outside.
Papasavas goes way off.
Papasavas doing everything he can, trying to use his teammate as a pick. Not quite doing it so far. Benzie's been pretty wily on this one. He tried to look to the inside in the final corner. That's a difficult place to make a pass work, though.
Do you remember that picture of the Corvette from the Daytona 24?
Yes.
You know what picture I'm talking about. I got a feeling that Caleb is going to do something similar. He just lost the front wing.
Benzie's wing is gone. Oh, that has got to be agonizing. Caleb Benzie's got to be furious about that.
I told you that picture was going to make a reappearance here, and now he's going to probably have to let Sanders go.
Yeah, Sanders makes a good effort right now up into 4th place, but now lets him go by into 3rd. But Caleb Benzie has got to be like to quote the great Murray Walker, he has got to be absolutely furious at that one.
He's probably pretty well. He's probably pretty well cooked, and I know the 41 could have been helping out their teammate, but you're already a lap down. And probably should have yielded a little bit easier, but we're just going to leave that up to the race stewards to decide.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious to see how the stewards play with that one there as Bonomi sends it down the inside on Caleb Benzie. He's trying to limp his way back to pit road. or not. He's actually staying out.
Yeah, he might be trying to say to that window opens, and we're not really sure, since IndyCars don't run here very often, what the window is. So he might just be trying to get closer to that window where he could definitely make it in a 2-stop situation. Right now, if he comes in a little early, it might be a 3-stop situation.
Could be. And Caleb Benzie, I will note, he's only got one part of the front remaining.
Oh, wow. Logan Spath might have been, I don't want to say anything, but he did not make that corner very easy for Tristan Moss at all.
No, he's probably angry on behalf of his good friend Caleb Benzie there, but Logan Spath in 4th position, trying to run down Gavin Sanders and Papa Savas and company. They oh my goodness, Logan Spath. Like, there's probably gonna be no love lost between these two organizations.
You gotta love the spice, and I'm not a big spice lover, but I love Italian food. If it can get a lot of flavor added, then I think we got a lot of flavor in this race. That is the best kind. There's Gianni looking to the inside of Caleb Benzie. Bonimi there. Wang now in the picture, as well as Carasala.
This has already been a very spicy meet the ball so far. And I will admit, Gianni sees that damaged Caleb Benzie in front, thinking, wait a minute, this guy's got no front wing on his left side. This should be easy to pass. No. Benzie brought down with a bit of red mist underneath him at the moment. He has got to be, he's got to be careful how he plays this one. Ooh, bit of a lockup there, in fact, from Benzie there. Benzie, I think I'd agree with you. He's going to be going till the very earliest opportunity on this pit stop cycle, then come in, get his front wing changed, and try and run everyone down here. He's still holding on to 5th for the moment, but it's going to be 6th as Sebastian Gianni goes through, and Kevin Bonomi also looking to make a move on the inside here.
Contact for 2nd. Sanders kind of giving the chrome horn to Papa Savas a little bit, but he is all over the rear attenuator.
Oh, he did give him a little bit of a chrome horn there. I mean, isn't it a thing that Canadians think like,
there is contact with the blink! With the blink!
Oh my goodness, he's got a broken rear wing as Papa Savas. He is in the kitty litter. He is probably game over there. Gavin Sanders, a bit of a Paul Tracy move, you may argue. Oh my goodness!
I think that was a net code blink. I mean, he lagged down, and next thing he did is he reappeared right in front of him, and that allowed Logan Spath.
What happened? That's exactly what happened. Papa Savas disappeared and then reappeared basically inside Gavin Sanders, and all of this has gotten Logan Spath up into 2nd place.
Yeah, Spath is now 2nd, Sanders 3rd, Gianni now 4th, Caleb Benzie with the one-wing angel situation in 5th. The famous who had to start off pit road.
I'm still seeing a pretty intact front wing on that number 10 machine, in fact.
Sanders has both wings, but Benzie is the one-wing angel right now. Right. And the famous gets around Benzie. So Benzie still trying to nurse that car a little bit deeper until that window can open. Bonimi 7th, Carasala 8th. Cameron Dance now up into 9th. Hunter Ingrave 10th.
Man, what a race so far, working lap number 10 of 48 here tonight.
Oh, JJ Wang, he has a broken rear wing, and he's trying to nurse a car that's not handling very well. Not exactly when that happened.
Having a look, it looked like it was early on.
Well, he's been riding around with that for a while. Oh, there it is.
For a little bit here. Oh, yeah.
Carasala got into the back of him, I think.
Yeah, he did. And Carasala has also got a one-wing angel situation. Actually, no, he didn't. But JJ Wang, broken rear wing, comes onto pit road.
The Carasala?
Was that
20?
Carasala?
The Toyota's a 24, and he snaps back into place.
Yeah, he did snap it back into place there.
Okay, now JJ's on pit road. Back up front, 12 seconds out in the lead. Now is Sherlock.
Yeah, Titus, he's wanted no part of all this chaos so far. He's just out for a beautiful drive on the Rimini coast right now. And really enjoying being up front here, turning some very quick laps so far. Looking at lap times of everyone else, he's about 4/10 faster last time around than Logan Spath was. And just taking advantage of all the chaos to pull out a big lead. Very good run. Looking to make it 2 wins in 4 starts this season is Titus Sherlock.
And the top 12 are kind of in a pack. There you kind of see on the map on your screen. They're all together from turn 16 to 13 or so. And then there's a big separation from P12 to 13th. Nate Seifer leads that next group of cars. Seifer, Hill, Yellen, and Watson. All these guys, lots of IndyCar starts, lots of pace here. I think they just got caught up in some battles in the mid-pack that were, car coming to pit road. That is Griffin Yellen. So he's going to take advantage of an early stop here.
And also another driver that took advantage of an early stop is Caleb Bensi. Bensi came in on that last lap, it looks like.
That looks like the window might be open to make this a 2-stopper. Now he has that new wing on.
New wing and hard tires underneath that 21 machine right now. And not a bad time to be doing this in his situation here, especially if you're going to be going long on this stint, which obviously you should if you were forced to come in early like Bensi has. A little bit wide there through that double right, but Bensi, probably not the strategy he wanted to start this race in, but starting out on the soft tire may have been a bit of a benefit in this case if he's trying to make up distance.
The Fabus now up to 4th around Gianni. So Sherlock, Spath, Sanders, your top 3. The Fabus now into 4th. Gianni 5th. Carasala 6th. Cameron Dance 7th. Ingrave with Bonimi on pit road for his early stop.
Yeah, Kevin Bonimi coming in, and I will note Tanner DeFabis. DeFabis is the fastest car on the track so far. Currently, definitely setting times in the low 21s, and I saw high 20s a few times, once before. So Tanner DeFabis really clicking off some good laps here to catch back up to Gavin Sanders and Logan Spath. He's got about a 3-second gap to do so, but that gap could be surmounted, especially as Sanders and Spath getting into a little bit of a tussle of their own. Sanders is going to have a look to the inside down the back straightaway for second, in fact.
Sanders to the inside, the inaugural season champion here in the FIS. Move him up to second. Logan Spath, the 2024 B Rookie of the Year for the Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series last year. 2 well-established drivers in this series and in the community going at it here for P2 on the circuit that is about 1.5 miles from the shorelines of the Adriatic Sea. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so don't miss out on the next race. And we've had a heck of a race here already to start. It's like, where do we gather our breath here, Stevie?
Oh, yeah, it's been hard to find some quiet moments here, and whether you say that's a good thing or a bad thing is up to you, of course. Yeah, it's been kind of it's been rough moments for some, but some drivers are finding some good opportunities here. And one driver I'll note that has been creeping up a little bit to the ranks right now is Nate Seifer, currently up to 12th after starting 19th, and Christopher Hill in 13th after starting 33rd on the grid.
20 spots for the driving instructor. Both these guys teammates with Team Watson Racing. Tonight's coverage is sponsored by EchoBlade by Sunset Arctic Games. EchoBlade is a puzzle combat dungeon explorer. You'll find yourself blind and trapped inside an expansive tower labyrinth. Shrouded in total darkness, you must navigate your way to freedom using only sound as your guide. To learn more or to buy EchoBlade, find it on Steam today. Links are in the description. Can you imagine driving these Indy cars based off echolocation?
That?
I mean, that's exactly what the AI cars are doing. But can you imagine, trying to earn an instrument rating in an Indy car just by putting on a set of blinders and you can't look up?
That would definitely be a challenge. Like, you would have to know the circuit intimately to do that, or you'd have to be half bad or something. Yeah, and like a game like that'd be a challenge in its own right. In fact, I kind of wonder if it was loosely based on the Vatican archives over in Roma. But yeah, like driving an IndyCar like that, oh my goodness. Even on an oval, that'd be a challenge.
Yeah, and submarine out in the Adriatic is one thing. Bonimi going purple lap with the new tires. We see them setting that right now. But in a video game is entirely something else. But we are watching a battle now between Watson and Schlosser. This is for 14th and 15th.
And Watson and Schlosser both made good progress so far.
Oh, sorry, I'm moving up a little bit forward. Siefker getting loose off the corner now, opening the door to Christopher Hill to come a little bit closer.
These two are teammates, as we mentioned. Christopher Hill.
And effectively, their boss is right behind them. That's the W in Team Watson is James Watson there. And there goes Hill to the inside. Has to back out of it as they go through 14.
Not quite there yet. But Christopher Hill turning some very quick laps the last time around. He was about 2/10 up on Siefker. And I think, given the situation, he would definitely want to be, obviously want to be out front here. Siefker lets him go.
Siefker's going to let him go. That's a great place to do it. Saved himself a lot of time. Going to let Hill go as a teammate planned position swap with there. Of course, you're doing it in front of the boss. The boss wants to see everybody behave, so.
Next in line will be Brian Labarge up in 11th place. Game 5 spots in his own right has the number 11 machine. Kind of a quiet night so far, but a very productive one so far. And the same can be said for Gabriel Aslin in front of him as well, from 23rd to 10th.
Yeah, Gabe had himself a good race at Texas as well. I think Labarge had a good race at Texas. Looking to back that up. Yeah, from an oval to a very tricky little road course here in Italy, most known for motorcycle racing. Of course, it's seen GT cars and things from Formula Renault 3.5s, F3, and Formula 2 in the distant past. In fact, we were talking about in the Porsche broadcast that the record holder on the original layout of this track opened in 1972. So it's perhaps a newer generation of some tracks compared to some of the classics, but it's definitely been here for quite a while. And the original configuration was set during F2 competition by Roberto Moreno, who we IndyCar nerds know very well. Titus in lap traffic right now. Gabe finished last week at Texas in 11th. He was one of the few last cars running there, but I think it was the last car on the lead lap. And Labarge finished 23rd, but he was much higher than that at Porsches during that race as well. So looking to recover after a 20th place finish, plus place finish there for Labarge. Watching our leader go through traffic as Titus Sherlock goes through Joshua Rutherford, Nick Goyette, and J.J. Wang, putting them a lap down. Gavin Sanders, pit road.
So Sanders, about the time where a lot of drivers may have been expecting to come on the pit road. Lap 17 here, and looks like Sanders is going to the hard tire.
He's sticking with them. Or no, wait, he was on the soft tire before, so he's going to go to the hard tires. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, not too many people started this race on the hard tire. The highest one up that did was Kevin Bonomi, who started 6th. Currently trying to fight back here on the soft tire and get some of the fastest laps that he's going to run tonight underneath him. Back up to 16th here as we go through the cycle.
Carousala right now is the highest place of the prime tire drivers. He's in 4th. Dance is in 5th. He has also the prime tire. Hunter Ingrave back in 7th has the prime tire. So although those 3 prime tire pilots, they are the only ones in the top 10 at the moment. Everyone around them currently on the alternate red tires. Up front, Sherlock, your leader by 14 seconds over his teammate Tanner DeFavis. And right behind DeFavis is Logan Spath, as DeFavis getting around Spath to move himself up to 2nd. Now Logan Spath 3rd, Carousala 4th, Cameron Dance 5th.
So Tanner DeFavis finally gets around Logan Spath for P2 as we get closer to when these guys will be expected to come onto pit road here and change out tires. Carousala looking at this a bit intently, perhaps, running slightly slower lap times than a couple of the soft tire runners. Actually, a bit faster than Logan Spath at the moment. So Carousala seems to be getting comfortable on these hard tires here and waiting for these guys to come onto pit road so he can get that position and get that track position before he has to come in and eventually change onto the soft tire.
Sam is a road course ace and veteran. I'm going to be happy to say, he might not like it when I say this, but I played a small role in him getting to the finish. And sometimes that's half the battle. When you do a 500-mile race at Indianapolis during the Open Wheels 500, was helping his team spot, and we got him to the finish. And I think it was a top 20 finish, no less. But he will tell you firsthand that even finishing in 20th spot for an Indy 500 is no easy feat.
Yeah, it can definitely be a challenge, like just getting to the end of a 500-mile race. I've done it a lot of times there. Like some days it can be a breeze, some days it's a struggle, and you just wonder when is it going to end. And like just keeping yourself out of other cars, out of the wall there. Indianapolis is always a fun challenge for sure, and everybody relishes it. Sometimes the challenge is met, other times it's failed.
DeFavis, Spath, Gianni all on pit road. DeFavis now down and away. Spath down and away. Gianni will be momentarily down and away. Getting positions on those guys is Sanders, moving him up to 4th. Titus Sherlock. He did stop. He's our leader. He did come in, so he's currently 3rd, and he's ahead of Sanders by only 10 seconds.
Yeah, so Sanders did make up some time there on the stint. So Gavin got a bit of pace on him for sure. It's going to be a big ask to catch back up to Titus Sherlock. But it's going to be an interesting battle seeing this alongside the likes of Tanner DeFavis when everyone else cycles through. In fact, he got out ahead of DeFavis, as you mentioned.
Carousala pit road scheduled stop, probably bringing Cameron Dance with him, and he does. That will turn the lead over once he gets around to the front straight, which he's 2 turns away from doing right now. That is 15, and now 16. He's on the front straight. He will pick back up the lead, cycle Titus Sherlock back to the P1 spot as we see Carousala down and away and moving on pit road. Another car coming off of pit road right there we see in the background.
Cameron Dance still comes out right behind Sam Carousala.
Sanders now 2nd, 10 seconds behind. DeFavis now cycles to 3rd.
Pit exit.
And it's a long one, and it's a twisty one as well. Spath now out in 4th. Carousala, excuse me, he is down. Now he needs to bring those alternate tires up to temperature. But he is now 5th. Cameron Dance 6th. Caleb Bency, who stopped way earlier than everyone else because of the One Wing Angel episode. He is now 7th. Bonini 8th. Gianni 9th. Hunter Ingrave 10th. Here are your weather conditions. 66 degrees ambient, 89 degrees track temperature. We're not expecting a lot of tire degradation, at least when it comes to the prime tire. Go ahead.
Battle on for 9th place. That's Sebastian Gianni and Hunter Engrave. Engrave actually got around Gianni, but Gianni's not quitting on this one as they head down the back straightaway. Came very close to contact, in fact, a couple of corners before. But Sebastian Gianni starting to lose a bit of ground right now. Hunter Engrave on the charge, up into 9th place. Kevin Bonomi is next in line. and Bonomi starting out on his soft tire run.
You know, we've seen in the first couple of races this season, in the trio of races that we've had this season, so Fuji, Bathurst, and Texas, where the amateurs were able to kind of get up and play inside the top 10. Your highest place amateur at the moment. And this says a lot about this track. And you kind of, Bonimi has one wing right now. He has lost his left front wing plane. So that's going to hold him up and force him to make another stop on pit road. But one of the things you talked about in the pre-race, how difficult this circuit is, and we expected it to be even more difficult with these much faster Indy cars. Your highest place amateur right now is 16th spot with Cody Claiborne.
Yeah, the Fish car starting to get some progress done here. Made up some good spots early on. But yeah, like this has definitely been a challenge for some of these.
He's up 5. You there?
Microphone.
There you go.
Yeah,
Check. All right, we got you.
Yeah, a little bit of a connection snafu here. We're not worried about conking out on you guys. But yeah, like this was always going to be a challenge for these guys, and the same can be said later on in the season when we go to the Sachsenring in Germany. It's a track that not too many drivers are familiar with, and again, in the case of Sachsenring and here at Misano, these are tracks that are more familiar for the people on 2 wheels than they are with 4. There's of course open wheel and touring car competitions on all these tracks, but nothing quite to the same caliber as an Indy car, and that's what these guys are struggling with here. For some, as I said, it's either a learning curve with the likes of Titus Sherlock learning it pretty well, or for others, it's a learning brick wall to the face.
Here's Logan Spath getting a position on Goyette, putting Goyette a lap down. That is maintaining Spath in 5th spot. There you see on your screen the push the pass situation. Titus Sherlock with 190 seconds left. Sanders with only 100 seconds left. But we're really kind of at the halfway point right now, so that's not too bad to be at 100 seconds. The famous with a 141, Carousala with 190, Spath 162, Dance with 120, Bincy with 175, Ingrave 189, Gianni on push to pass right there. You see with the green highlights, 135, Bonimi with 146. So there's seconds remaining here when they hit that push the pass button.
And Bonomi still holding doggedly onto that car there despite that wing damage. I'm not sure where the wing damage came from, but it was definitely a few laps ago. So again, kind of a Caleb Bency situation here where you got to get the car to the earliest opportunity for a pit stop, and that is basically entirely dictated by the fuel at this point. So Bonomi is going to hang on to that thing for all it's worth before the final pit stop window opens. And Bonomi comes on the pit road here. So we're about halfway through this race. I would expect to see that window open in about 4, 5, maybe 6 laps for Kevin Bonomi to come in here and hopefully not get into even more trouble after the pit stop happens.
Gianni getting around Rutherford. The longest stint of that first run was 20 laps. Carousala and Cameron Dance both did 20 laps. Christopher Hill did 20 as well. So we can assume that they will go to in the neighborhood of 40, and then they'll probably put on those red tires and do some Red Bull laps here at the very end of this race.
Yeah, and for mic check.
Yeah, you're here.
Yep, this is what I get for running off of Wi-Fi and not wired like I normally do. But in Bonomi's situation here, you got to get it to within 20 laps to go, which is going to be, as we said, around like 4 laps, maybe 5 to play it safe for Kevin Bonomi to get in here and be good on fuel all the way to the end of the race. Tires, we'll see what Bonomi is most comfortable with here. We've seen some guys go pretty much all the way on fuel with the soft tires, so it looks like Deg wasn't as big a concern as we've seen at other tracks, but still a concern nonetheless. The crossover point was reached. It was just later on in the going than what was expected for a lot of drivers.
Sherlock has pulled out 2 additional seconds on top of Gavin. Gavin now about, 11 back. It was at 12 at one point. DeFavis now in third. Carousala 4th. Spath 5th. Cameron Dance 6th. Bensi 7th. Ingrave 8th. Gianni 9th. Bonimi 10th. A little bit further back, we got Johnston in 11th. Asley in 12th. Hill, in 13th. Seifer 14th. Wang in 15th.
And 19 cars on the lead lap thus far in this race. As Gavin Sanders trying to work his way around lap traffic, trying to hold off Tanner DeFavis.
Was that last car on the lead lap?
DeFavis
let's go to DeFavis
DeFavis
here.
about 2/10 quicker than Gavin Sanders last time around there, so this could shape up to be a good battle towards the end. Got that lap car in the way here. DeFavis wants to get past this as soon as possible, and so.
And he gets around Miglin. Next up for Miglin to kind of yield to would be Sam Carousala.
And Carousala, let's definitely give him a shout out on this one. 13th to 4th so far in this race. A very sterling effort for Sam Carousala. A bit of a struggle in qualifying, but really putting that race pace to the fore.
Sherlock has led from the get-go, other than a little bit of overlap and exchange of pit stops. He is currently exactly where he started on the pole. Currently runs first. Sanders up 12 spots to second. DeFavis down 1 spot to third, but he had to start from pit road. So he essentially started from the tail end of the field. So
Indeed,
God knows really what that actual count is. Carousala, as you mentioned, up 9. Spath up 2. Dance up 2. Bensi up 3. Ingrave up 3. Gianni down 4 and Bonimi down 4 as Miglin gets out of the way for Carousala. And now they're clear.
For 5th place, I should note, Logan Spath trying to hold off a charging Cameron Dance. Dance has got a lot of grip underneath him here. It was quite a bit quicker last time around. Can Dance have an opportunity here into turn number 8? Not quite.
Look at those brake rotors glow.
Oh, yeah, he's really getting as much adhesion out of this car as possible, and the brakes are definitely one of the big components of that around here. Cameron Dance gets his foot down. This is going to be one of the best opportunities here in this tricky section here off the back stretch.
Oh, a little bit of a fade for Logan.
Bath defending. Dance trying to send it around the outside here. Very tricky to do, but he makes it work.
Nice job.
He pinched Logan's Bath.
Nice job. He had to make that
Cameron
the long way.
He did have to do that. Cameron Dance up to 5th place regardless. And Dance had a fast car underneath him at Bathurst, but it was ultimately all for naught early on in that race.
Yeah, catch Cameron this Sunday here in the on P1 as he will be part of that lineup for the Classic IndyCar Series winter schedule race at Legacy Phoenix at 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. He is the current points leader in that championship right now. So if you want to see more Cameron, check him out on Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on P1 for the Classic IndyCar Series winter schedule.
And Gavin Sanders actually looks like he actually let Tanner DeFavis go up into 2nd place.
And he might let Carousala go, too.
Interesting. I'm not sure why that would happen. Obviously, he's not teammates with Tanner DeFavis. Not sure what could be ailing Gavin Sanders here. Seems to still be at pace. Maybe just didn't want to be too engrossed in the fight at the moment. But DeFavis pulling away in 2nd place there. Sanders back down to 3rd, trying to hold off Sam Carousala. And the guy I'm, of course, keeping an eye on here eventually in this battle is going to be Cameron Dance. Looking at lap times last time around, Carousala with a 21.3, Dance with a 21.2. So a little bit quicker, but still a pretty sizable gap to work with. But if Carousala gets into a fight with Sanders, we'll see what happens there. Different
lines on a lot of these corners that people are taking. Very interesting how they're able to keep their momentum up.
Yeah, and then particularly to that double right-hander we were talking about, then, which I drew comparisons to Moss Corner at Mossport up in Canada, where it's not quite the same dramatic elevation difference there, but you can run multiple lines through that corner regardless, and it looks like the same deal there, especially when you're trying to set up momentum for that left-hander afterwards onto the back straight. It's interesting to see not just from driver to driver, but also lap to lap, especially as more and more rubber starts to build up on the outside lines here.
Okay, big three-car battle back here for 15th. Claiborne, Watson, Schlosser, all one-on-one top of one another right now, nose to tail. Pretty fierce battle going on right here between these three.
And Schlosser and Watson trying to put pressure on the fish car. Cody Claiborne trying to defend here. Here comes Watson looking to the inside. In fact, into turn number 8. Schlosser not quite making the move just yet, but Watson, he's going to get him guy there and open the door for Schlosser.
Oh, good job. Good job, gentlemen. Oh, we're
Cody
still banging
Claiborne's
wheels.
He's still holding that inside here as they head onto the back straightaway. Matt Schlosser, though, tries to set it up on the exit. He's going to look to the inside and through this fast right-hand kink, and he gets right up alongside him as they head into this double right-hander. Way off the track goes Schlosser, but he holds on to the spot. And Takeshi Kita, no, it's not Takeshi Kita.
Did he go too far off and have to yield?
I think he may have. Cody Claiborne to hold on to the spot. He comes on pit road.
Oh, if Matt would have known that, I don't know if Matt would have tried so hard to try to pass Cody if he knew Cody was coming in.
Probably wouldn't have. But Cody Claiborne, for his final stop, up on the Jackson, down and onto hard tires for the end of this race.
Yeah, a scheduled stop there for Cody. He went 17 on the last stint, and of course he only needs to do 18 now, 17 to bring it home.
Logan Spath now coming in out of that battle with Sam Karasala.
Final stop
and
for him.
Dance.
And there's a car to his inside. I believe that's Kita.
It is Takeshi Kita. Bit of a close call there, but gets it into his spot very well. And on to soft tires for the end of this race. About 17 laps to work on them. And I wouldn't be at all surprised, especially with how well the tires have been able to hold up so far, if all the leaders come in and put on softs for the end of this race.
Battle brewing here between Asley and Hill for 9th.
Christopher Hill currently sitting in 11th. That could definitely change with the pit stop cycle here, but putting pressure on Gabriel Aslane in the 87.
Here it is to
He's
the inside.
To the inside, turn 8.
Same age tires, roughly. And
popular overtaking spot and gets it done.
the PRI instructor goes ahead, and he moves to 9th now.
And sitting right behind them on track is a lap car, but Nate Siefker is the next driver in line there, and he's going to come under pressure from Caleb Bensi in a moment.
And Bensi has a teammate in front of this battle. There's Logan.
Logan Spath just coming off a pit road, no less. So these guys, particularly...
Here we go.
Bensi most likely on slightly older soft tires than Logan Spath is, but gets the pass done on Nate Siefker.
Meanwhile, up front, Titus Sherlock is still your leader. He was just on the push-to-pass button. He's right behind Schlosser, who we were just watching him in a battle for position about a lap or so ago. And no, the leaders were creeping up that closely. But here he is, lapping up to now 15th spot. Still a good chunk of this race to go. He might actually lap up into the top 10 at this current pace.
But very well at this pace. And looking at everyone around him there, DeFavis a little bit quicker, but with a just under 13-second gap last time around Titus Sherlock has got a pretty comfortable lead there as he works around lap traffic. In fact, DeFabus, 120.4. That's got to be purple lap.
Bonimi still has the purple lap set early in the race with a 119.3.
Wow. Actually did not realize that Bonimi had that fast lap. Very well done to him. Even if 3 laps down and struggling here, was started off with a lot of promise, turned into disappointment right here.
That's how momentum starts with a team and a driver. Just get a good start, get a good race in, and maybe he's not going to get the finish that he feels like he deserves, but he definitely put in the performance and had the pace to kind of start this race off pretty well, and that kind of sets the table pretty positively going into the next race, which is a track that a lot of these drivers know pretty well. You've talked about it, Sebring in 2 weeks. Will be on the international course there, which is where they run the 12 hours of Sebring, and I mean, some of these guys have been on that track so much they know it like the back of their hand.
Like me. Yeah, I love Sebring. It's one of my favorite tracks, and the bumpy surface, the fast-flowing nature of it all, the good overtaking opportunities, it's a favorite of a lot of drivers. Doesn't matter what kind of car it is. You're always going to have fun at good old Sebring.
Well, yeah, I saw it. Carousala was actually getting close to Sanders and was going to take a stab at him after Sanders kind of let DeFabus go, but now Sanders pulling away from Carousala a little bit by about a second or so.
Yep, and just a tad bit slower than Tanner DeFabus ahead of him at the moment. So DeFabus pulling away from Sanders, Sanders pulling away from Carousala, and looking a bit further behind, Cameron Dance in 5th place as it stands. I'm keeping an eye on him and seeing if he's got anything to catch up to these guys, but I'm looking back behind where those lap cars fighting it out behind our leaders.
And now our leader coming up to James Watson. Watson goes high up into the marbles, but lets our leader go. So now we have lapped up to P14. Next on our leader's lap list is former series champion Nate Seifert in 13th.
Yeah, Seifert made some good progress in this race, but hasn't been quite to the same level as some of the other drivers around him. But sitting 13th, it's a good effort so far, and it's okay points, but definitely not what he would have wanted here. And I think that could well be attributed to just the sheer learning curve of learning a new circuit here. We were talking with the winner of the Porsche Cup race earlier on tonight, and he was saying that he just bought the track like half an hour before race time.
That makes me sick, and I say that 100% out of jealousy. Anyways, unlike Texas, when we got to the end of the race, we only had about 9-10 cars running. We still have a good chunk of this field underway, almost 30 cars still running here at the World Circuit. Lots of rooms and a lot of room, and a lot of battles are separated by quite a bit of distance. The closest battle on the racetrack is now Schlosser getting around Watson, who's on pit road. That's actually going to be the closest battle on the racetrack as they exchange spots on pit road. Hill now within a half second of Matt Johnston, and Carousala in for a final stop.
Yeah, so that takes Carousala out of the
Cameron
top
Dance.
Four, top 5. Cameron Dance in 2, actually.
Final stop for Cameron.
Engrav stays out. Sebastian Gianni also staying out. So, yeah, these are the final stops for Dance and Engrav there. They had good track position going here, but you're going to have to work for it again. Soft tires, I would expect, going on to both of these cars.
16 laps for Sherlock on this stint. DeFabus' teammate also 16 laps. Gavin Sanders 18 laps. Hunter Ingrave, and I don't want to jinx him because he's got himself another good performance here. And we're late in the race, and he's putting together, not a great qual, but he's putting together a great performance on the racetrack. Normally, he's been doing the great quals, and the great performance on the racetrack kind of falls apart for him. Well, today he's up to 4th, but right now he is 16 laps into his current stint, so he's still yet to stop, but he's looking at a possible top 10 finish. And if you could put both ends of the race together for this guy, that is going to be a good day for Hunter Ingrave, one of our favorites that we like to watch every week here when the FIS races. Gianni now currently 5th, Sam Carasella in 6th, Asley in 7th, Spath in 8th, Bincy, not the race he's been wanting to have, in 9th, and Siefer in 10th.
Looks like a really slow stop for Cameron Dance, I will know. Something.
Oh, he had a hold. He had a 48-second stop.
Penalty.
So he had a penalty, speeding on pit road for Cameron Dance.
Oh, no. Like, similar vein to Hunter Ingrave here. We all know how good Cameron Dance is behind the wheel, but can this guy get any luck, please?
And we're going to see Cameron Dance also not only in the Sunday race next week here on P1, but Luis Gonzalez and Nunez and I will be calling the opening race of the Elite Racing League's Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series on Thursday at 7:45 p.m. Eastern over on the Elite Racing Network. And round 1, he's one of the entrants over there, so he's picked up his IndyCar schedule just a little bit this season.
Yeah, and hopefully there he can get a better result than he's getting here, and not for a lack of effort, definitely just an unfortunate penalty, it would seem, for Cameron Dance. Takes him out of top 5 contention late on in the going.
Titus Sherlock getting around Tommy Reval. That is 20th spot, putting him another lap down, and he is now setting sail here for, looks like he'll be stopping here soon to get that final stop out of the way. See if he can hold on to this lead.
DeFavis comes in for his last stop. Interesting. And also has a lap car ahead. It's Matt Schlosser in the 400. So we got some late pit stops for these drivers. Makes me wonder what their fuel situation is like for everyone else.
Once again, if you're just joining us, you're watching coverage of round 4 of 12 of the Formula Indy Series, coming to you from the Misano World Circuit for the EchoBlade Grand Prix of the Adriatic. We're currently, Titus Sherlock is your leader. He's been leading pretty much all day long. We have just over 10 laps to go. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel so don't miss out on the next race. And Sanders in 5th spot, watching here a battle between now DeFavis and Sanders, as Sanders is getting closer to DeFavis here in the closing portion of this stint.
DeFavis on cold, soft tires with 10 laps to go. DeFavis is going for the Red Bull laps here, it looks like.
So Sanders, everybody in the top 16 on the red tires.
Yep. I'm not at all surprised by that. Everyone's going to go for pace at the end of this race here.
All right, Titus Sherlock, final stop done. I believe he's down and away on his outlap. Let's get in. One final word from EchoBlade will take you to the end. This is the EchoBlade Grand Prix of the Adriatic, and this is P1.
A blind night that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock myself?
Free them to fight back with more allies. Let's take this guy. The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
Again, check out EchoBlade on Steam. Link is in the description. Now watching a battle between teammates. Logan Spath, Caleb Bency. Again, Caleb not having a great race, losing one of his front wing planes early on. That caused him to have to come to pit road a lot earlier than everyone and make that second stint a very long one for the former series champion. But he is currently in 6th behind his teammate Logan, who finished 3rd in the championship last season.
And Bency, even with the struggles he had early on in this race, still knocking on the door of a top 5 here. As one thing I'll note is that our leader, Titus Sherlock, came in for his final stop and is going to be going for the Red Bull laps in his own right. Right now, that honor is Tanner DeFabis. Last time around, 119.2.
There it is. There it is, 118.8.
18.8 for Titus Sherlock.
It was a 118.8 in speed, 118.5 in time. But there it is.
118.5 for Titus Sherlock. That is your Red Bull lap, folks. Yeah, that's the fastest lap of the race. And in fact, that's actually faster than his qualifying time that put him on the pole.
Light tanks, new tires, and right in front of him is Brian Labarge, and he is just close enough that he can get a whiff of that draft on that what little of a front straight they have here. And he gets around Labarge as Labarge moves the Lego machine out of the way, allowing the leader on by. Our leader now has a 9-second lead over his teammate DeFabis, who's in 2nd. Sanders still holding on to 3rd, who's on the push to pass button. Carousala 4th, Bency 5th.
And looking a little bit further here, still that battle on for 5th between Spath and Bency. And Spath looking to... Actually, Bency has gotten around Logan Spath now. And a little further down the field, I'm noticing 9th place. Fairly close now between Christopher Hill and Matt Johnston, 2 well-known veterans of the series. Fairly close stuff so far. Not quite enough that Johnston's knocking on the door, but still fairly close. But also, I'm keeping an eye on some of the battles here, like Nate Siefker and Gabriel Aslan in 12th and 13th there. Siefker trying to close up and make this battle joined.
I like the Air Canada sponsorship there on Gabe's car.
Indeed so. That's a nice paint scheme, I will say. Siefker getting closer there in that tricky brake zone I keep on alluding to there. That's one of those sections where you gotta be careful on your brakes, both the first and second parts of that corner there, as we got a lap car.
Goyette gets out of the way. Goyette gets well out of the way.
Siefker right up on the gearbox of Aslan. And right there behind him is JJ Wang, probably looking to pick up any sort of advantage he could get from any sort of.
This is pretty good for JJ. Remember, JJ lost his rear wing early part of this race.
This is true.
JJ would love some scraps right now. I mean, if he didn't lose that front wing, he's probably looking at a top 10. Right now, he's in a top 15.
Agree completely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, he would.
Six to go. Once again, everybody, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our next race, which is Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern, Classic IndyCar Series their winter schedule, Legacy Phoenix as their penultimate race of their schedule. And then our IndyCar doubleheader on Monday, the 3rd. IndyCar Open Series, myself and Clindy will bring you the action from Watkins Glen for the Open Series at 7, and then I get to do double duty. We watch Siefker on the outside of Aslan, and he gave him he didn't push him off, But Astley gave him a little bit more room than he should have, and he might lose a position here to Wang. And actually, he lost the position to Wang, so Wang got around him.
Yeah, he did, and Aslan definitely a late race struggle here. Got forced off the track, no less.
I don't see if
Gabriel
JJ can
Aslan.
get to now the former champion now. They're going to battle JJ, get him up into 13th. But to continue my promo, 9:30 p.m. Eastern on Monday, the ISRA IndyCar Series, or their open wheel series, goes to Motegi. So I will be calling IndyCar action from 7 p.m. to about 10, 11 o'clock that night. So long day for me on Monday. But check it out, IndyCar doubleheader here on P1 with the Open Series top split and the ISRA. Wow, and now we're watching this battle between first 13th continue to get closer as Seifer holding off JJ Wang. This is your closest battle on the racetrack, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Seifker definitely worrying a little bit with JJ Wang having a fair amount of pace so far in that 00 machine. About 4/10 faster last time around. 5/10 actually over Nate Seifker. Setting up a run here off of the left-hander onto the first straight on the first back straightaway here. Not quite close enough just yet. It'll be 3 laps to go for the leader next time around. Titus Sherlock about 10 seconds ahead.
Oh, Seifer getting loose on corner exit there. This is that line, turn 10. So now JJ is going to be on the button. There we see on the button with his pie readout, green border there. The green flashing lights.
Notes. JJ Wang not quite close enough to stick the nose in just yet, but JJ Wang is really putting pressure on Nate Seifker. Seifker's starting to struggle, it would seem, on those tires. And
But
JJ
JJ's on it's equal tires.
Equal tires.
In
yeah.
fact, JJ has twice as old tires, and he's running down Nate. So maybe Nate has damage that we don't know about, or he's just having a hard time with this track. But there we see, JJ getting a big run on him in the closing stages. Now can Nate hold him off? This is a battle for 12th. Again, JJ had an incident early in the race where he lost his rear wing. This guy could be in the top 10 very easily. But right now, he's fighting for a battle here inside the top 15.
That he definitely is. And JJ Wang got a lot of good pace underneath him. Can he make it work, though? Is the overtaking opportunities you got to take advantage of. And I'm looking in arrears there. Titus Sherlock starting to creep into the same frame as these guys.
That's your leader,
Getting
yeah.
up on the back of Gabriel Aslan in 14th to put him a lap down.
Going to put a lap down for Asley there in 14th. And you know, there Asley just pulls over and lets him on by. You got to hate it, though. You're 3 laps from the end, and here comes the leader to put you a lap down. You're like, gosh, dang it, man. Can't you just hold off for 3 laps and let me lead, let me get on the... I mean, sometimes for a lot of these drivers, half the battle is just finishing the race on the lead lap, and unfortunately, that won't be one of those days today. Yep, but get on it. There. And he makes you around it.
JJ Wang gets it.
And let's take a look back at that in slow motion. And JJ just sends it to the inside. Seifker gets out on the marble, slides up and out. And JJ moves right on by. So great move by JJ. Move him up to 12th now.
Great effort by JJ Wang. Broken rear wing early on in this race. All the way up to 12th spot now. So JJ has had a great amount of pace underneath him, and he's had solid runs all season, but this is looking to be a really good one in its own right on a track that he may not be familiar with, and a lot of other people here may not be
Hunter
familiar with.
Ingrave in a battle with Logan Spath minus a left front wing plane as well. Not sure when that exactly happened, but now Logan might sense blood in the water on Hunter and try to get that position back. But can Hunter hold off Logan here in the closing stages? 2 to go for these guys.
Basically a lap and a half for Spath to get him again. Way deep on the brakes, real close to that rear attenuator. Spath definitely smells the blood there from the damaged Hunter.
And the inside.
Sends it way down on the inside there. Little bit, very close to banging wheels there, but Logan Spath getting back around him for P6, but Engrav may actually have a speed advantage here with that broken wind. There's no wind going over the front of the car.
That's less drag.
Hunter Engrav holds him off on the straight.
Meanwhile, our leader has encountered the battle between Siefker and Wang. Siefker back up to Wang's attenuator, and our leader is right there with him. He's on the push to pass button. How close does he want to get to this battle? He's on the final lap, white flag in the air. I would say follow these guys home and let them finish their battle out amongst themselves and just kind of glide. And now JJ doing the snake down the straight.
Spath's on pit road. Spath is on pit road at the end of this race. He did a pass through here. Oh, he got a penalty. Logan Spath got a pass through penalty right at the end of the race.
That's going to be another spot possibly for JJ then.
It probably will be. And Titus Sherlock, Veni Vidi Vici. He wins in Italy.
Second win of the season. Nice job, Titus, especially after the disaster of last week. 10 or seconds. Gavin Sanders off the final corner. He's going to come home third for his second straight podium. Karasala, again, good finish for him. He comes home fourth. Bensi, he's going to come home fifth, but I don't think he's going to like that finish.
Definitely not. I mean, broken front wing early on to fifth ain't bad, but it's still a broken front wing early on. And given the heated battle that was from, he's going to have a few things to say, I would reckon.
Here's Hunter Ingrave putting both ends of the day together. A qualification effort and a good race. Comes home sixth with the broken front wing. Gianni home seventh with Christopher Hill right in his tire tracks in eighth. Johnston coming off the final corner for ninth. A very quiet but effective top 10. Cameron Dance, even with a 40-second hold, comes home 10th.
Siefker got around J.J. Wang, actually, on the very last lap. Coming to the checkers, it's going to be a drag race almost. Not quite. Siefker's going to get him again for 12.
There is a good finish there. Siefker 12th, Wang 13th, Logan Spath with the final drive-through penalty there at the end. He comes home 11th.
So yeah, it looked like Siefker got around Wang coming onto the back straightaway there. A little bit of a lockup, it would seem, from J.J. Wang. But a great race and fantastic stuff.
Looks like the Eclipse guys here are going to do a little bit of a photo moment here at the start-finish line for their top two-step sweep of the podium. Let's get in those final results here. Titus Sherlock with your win. Second win this season for Titus. We're going to check to see how the points are going to pan out after this, but he came in as the points leader, and he is doing a very Polish-style victory lap here in full reverse. DeFavis in second. Gavin Sanders third, Karasala fourth, Caleb Bensi fifth, Ingrave sixth, Gianni seventh, Christopher Hill eighth, Johnston ninth, Cameron Dance 10th, Christopher Hill up 25 spots. Johnston up 11. Sanders up 11. Now, listen, you got some guys that really had to drive a hard race here in that top 10. Logan Spath 11th. Seifert 12th. Wang 13th. Asley 14th. Schlosser 15th. Watson Kita Claiborne, your lead amateur driver, with Reval right behind him. So that's still going to bode well for Reval in the amateur championship. He's 19th. And Goyette in 20th. Labarge 21st, Miglin 22nd, Herman 23rd, Monimi 24th, Rutherford 25th. Allen, Papasavas, Mundell, Cook, and Flaum, your top 30 there. Yellen, Rutherford, Moss, Costello, Short, and Solwedge round out the remainder of the 36-car field. And again, shout out to the admins that you could put 36 cars on a track that is new. Not a lot of people have it. You have to buy this track. It's a $15 track. And you get all the people to show up and still race in your league on a Wednesday night. Props, man. 36 drivers. Continuing the streak of 30-plus drivers in these 30-plus driver races in this league. That just says a lot about the FIS. If you're interested in becoming part of the FIS, make sure to sign up. Link is in the description for the Discord. And be a part of this. This is certainly a top 5, well within the top 10 league here on the entire service on iRacing. And let's get some replays queued up here. They were lined up. I didn't know they were lined up around the corner there for the start. All right. And let's clear off some of these graphics as well. And let's get into our first interview here. Gavin Sanders. Gavin missed the first race of the season, so he's kind of catching up. Let's, where he is? There he is. And let's bring him up right now. Gavin Sanders, P3 today, and you kind of really had to, not a great start. Qualifying was a little tough for a lot of people, but up 11 spots to P3, up in second for a good portion of the day, threatening for the lead there after the second pit stop. You broke it within 10 seconds, but I don't know if you really saw Titus the entire race, but a second podium finish for you, and that's getting you into the points championship, which is exactly where you want to be halfway through this season.
Yeah, I think it was a solid night. I'm, pardon my voice, I'm a little sick, but it was interesting. I definitely messed up my qualifying pretty badly and had a decent start, but most people were just having chaos. I know this track relatively vaguely from other simulators.
And of course, you were in the thick of it, particularly up towards the front of the field once you got through all that, but you said before that that you had some experience of this circuit from other sims. Something I'm pretty sure some drivers that we talked to tonight, they may not have had going into it. Would you say that this would be a really fun combo in an IndyCar? Would you want to see it come back here and be more popular?
Yeah, I think that it was pretty good. I do think the track is more so a GT3 track based off of the other sim that I was able to get some experience with it on was primarily GT3, GT4, and then some other random stuff. But I do think that it races with the IndyCar rather well. It's kind of your classic European track, very flat, and then the weather's obviously makes the track quite toasty, and everything is very decreasing radius and high speed into hairpin. So I think that it does produce fun racing overall, and it's definitely challenging once the alternate tires went off to keep the rear under control in some spots. It was very interesting. So yeah, I do think that the IndyCar likes this place.
We'll go ahead and let you get on out of here because you're not feeling at 100%. But I mean, a good effort and still not feeling 100%. Way to go. So shout outs, friends, family, sponsors. Anyone to say hi to before we let you go? And then thankfully you'll have a week off after this. So you have plenty of time to recover.
Right. Guys, buy EchoBlade on Steam. That's all you got to do. I know you've been seeing it all night, but buy EchoBlade on Steam. Thank you. Big thank you to Team Melamo Esports, to Zach and the crew. And thanks to you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast, as always. And yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks to everybody who's watching. It's always appreciated.
All right, get better soon, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, man.
Working on it. Sounds good. Take care, guys. See ya.
And yeah, I could immediately tell once he got on. It's like, are we talking to Gavin, or do you get a new mic or something? It doesn't sound like just like him. But a good effort. Anytime you can put together 125 miles, 48 laps here at this track, and not feel well and get a podium finish, doing better than me, my friend. Well, let's bring up Tanner, who finished second today. Here he is. Tanner joining us in the booth. Well, it says that you finished where you started on the final stats here, but you had to start from pit road, and so I don't know what the official pass count for you is, but it was a lot. And that's just to get to second, and I don't even think you really got a chance to see your teammates a rear attenuator very much at all this race. So a solid P2 for you, as really kind of best in class compared to your teammate today.
Yeah, it was a great race. Surprised I got up that far, but very happy with the finish.
I'm not surprised you got up that. I mean, as Randy Macho Man Savage always used to say in his promo, the cream always rises to the top, and I'm sure you would agree, Stevie, that the cream did rise to the top pretty quickly once Tanner got inside the top 5.
Yeah, you were definitely having some solid laps there. I thought you were going to get fastest lap, then Titus just blew everyone else out of the water for purple lap that going. But we've had quite a few. But like the first 4 races have had very different circuits. I mean, 3 road courses, obviously. We had Fuji, where you won. You had Bathurst. We had Texas, and now here at Misano. Misano is probably the odd one out of all of them, especially compared to a lot of other people in the iRacing service. But this is probably a question I'd be repeating myself a few times here. But do you think this was this a track that you had to learn quickly, or was this one that you had a fair amount of familiarity with? Because I mean, if it is the former, you picking off so many people throughout this race would probably be hard to believe.
Yeah, I mean, this track it wasn't very easy to learn, to be honest. I mean, we had to learn it pretty quickly because pretty much never really drove on it until FIS. So yeah, it was really difficult though because the different lines you can take, just there's so many pros and cons, and you really have to figure out which is the best, and it's really not that easy because it's just there's such a fine line of finding just the right way around the track. So yeah, it was a pretty difficult track, but a very fun track. So that always helps.
Shout outs, friends, family, sponsors. Yet another podium for you this season. I don't have an update on the points, been kind of waiting for that, but off to a pretty good start. Oval track withdrawn, of course. Yeah, go ahead. Any shout outs you might have?
Yeah, I'd love to shout out Eclipse Competition. The team has done pretty good job for us and everybody else there. And yeah, a big shout out to Titus for getting that win. It was a very good job. He drove a great race. And very good job from everybody. And shout out to all our sponsors. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much, guys.
Well, Tanner, congratulations on the P2 today. We will see you at a course we know you have experience on in real life, Sebring, coming up here in 2 weeks. But until then, enjoy the week off.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And now let's bring up Titus. And I don't think he led every single lap, but he came close because there was a couple laps that overlapped on the pit stop. So he did almost everything but win the Grand Slam. He got a triple out of this thing. He got the win, he got the pole, and he got the fastest lap. He did everything but lead them all, but we'll bring him up right now. Titus Sherlock, win number 2 in his FIS career, and kind of a tale of 2 different weeks. Last week on the oval track, a track that I know, just kind of judging from your voice in your interview from your podium interview at Bathurst, that you're like, I'm not so sure about Texas. End up showing up for Texas anyways, and then last place. So we go from worst to first in a period of a week, dominating here on the road course in Italy, and we were just talking about it, you did everything you needed to do to win the Grand Slam other than lead 2 stinking laps. Other than that, you got the win, you got the fastest lap, you got the pole, and you led 47 of the 48 or 49 that officially the race was scheduled for. Not too bad of a day, and definitely letting people know that you're back in this championship race after a not so great race on the oval at Texas.
Yeah, thank you. Texas, I didn't even make it out of the exit of turn 1 because my teammate spun in front of me, so that was fun. But yeah, much better here. I didn't actually expect it to go this well. I bought the track a couple hours ago, so.
Oh, you
I
make
really
me
liked
sick.
But I played on ACC, so I knew like the layout and stuff.
Okay, all right. He's got a little experience.
a little bit. But yeah, it was really fun, and this car and track really go well in my opinion. And yeah, got pole. My teammate Tanner qualified second, but he started in the pit lane, so I had a pretty easy start and run to turn 1, and then just try to put the laps together and get a good gap, and then just kind of maintain it from there.
Stevie.
Yeah, it looked to me like to most observers like a pretty comfortable drive on the Rimini coast. The only thing that really was setting it apart was how fast you were going on that one. Nearly a full second faster, fastest lap, in fact, than your teammate. This really seemed like a very, very comfortable race for you. And Bathurst was also a really good one, too. And it makes up in a big way for the misfortunes at Texas. So going into the next few races, we got Sebring and Laguna Seca and Milwaukee. Of course, some well-trodden ground among the IndyCar community. It's got to be pretty exciting, but I think some other drivers are going to be a bit keyed up on that one more than some others. So exciting going into that one, I would presume.
Yeah, a lot of awesome tracks on the schedule. I'm not sure if I'll be at Sebring. I know I said that for Texas, but I might be at the real life Sebring or Carolina. It might be. So might be missing that one. So trying to extend my points lead as much as I can while I'm racing here. So yeah, they have an awesome schedule and all the tracks are great. Unfortunately, I'm not the greatest on the ovals, but we're here to learn. So
Indeed.
Any shout outs that you would like to make before we let you go here with the big win today?
Yeah, just the whole Eclipse team. I think we all had a great race today. Unfortunately, a lot of them had some bad luck. Michael wheel disconnected again 2 weeks in a row. And then Eva Gors, who was running second behind me, having a really great race. His sim shut off on him. So it was unfortunate, but they all did great, and just like to thank them for all the hours we put in practicing for this league and other leagues and making it fun. And we've been having a lot of success recently. We just won the our split in the Rolex as well, so it's been really fun. So I'd like to thank all the guys there.
Well, still waiting for the points to update, but I'm pretty sure with the win, you were the leader coming into the race anyways. With the win, you probably extended your lead just a little bit. Not sure how much, but congrats on the win, keeping the points lead. You got a week off, and possibly we will see you at Sebring. If not, we'll catch you at the next one. But congratulations, and we'll see you at the next one.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Stevie, wow, what a race. I mean, it started right off, and the great thing about the start to today's race is that already a number of these guys and gals here in the lineup that have participated here in the FIS have been gaining experience with the standing start, and you can kind of tell the longer the FIS kind of gets into its history, the standing starts become more and more exciting to watch, not waiting for the wrecks, just the close racing that it invites. And we saw close racing, door-to-door, or not, well, we don't have door-to-doors here in IndyCar, but wheel-to-wheel,
Right.
side pod to side pod type racing all the way through here for much of the first half of this race. And then it really kind of turned into just, a drive to survive there at the end and hold off to your positions there in that last stint. But the first two stints were very, very exciting here on a track and car combination that you do not see very often.
This is true. Misano was always going to be one of those odd ones out alongside like tracks like the Sachsenring, where it was going to be one that drivers would have to adapt to quickly, especially if they didn't know it very well. But it definitely put on a great show. And like, it's not just people learning; people were being aggressive. People were making moves out there, and the track really did allow for some good racing. So, to borrow a quote from a couple of Italian TikTokers I know, I say about this race: "Approved. It was very good."
Well, that's going to do it for tonight. Once again, your podium from the Misano World Circuit for the EchoBlade Grand Prix of the Adriatic. Titus Sherlock with his second win of the season. Danny DeFavis, his teammate, keeping pace with him in the championship. P2, Gavin Sanders, second podium in a row after the win last week at Texas, finishes third. Join us again in 2 weeks for round 4 of the Porsche Super Series and round 5 of the Formula Indy Series championships as we head back stateside to Sebring International Raceway for the Sebring Grand Prix. Coverage begins with the PSS support race around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, immediately followed by the 125-mile IndyCar race. Remember, for the correct broadcast time in your area, make sure to check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@P1 Broadcasting for the correct start time in your area. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game's not an easy one, so please help support P1 with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know your thought of tonight's race. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so don't miss out on more of other P1 iRacing programming, including this Sunday, for the Classic IndyCar Series. Their winter schedule, 2 more rounds to go, and it's the penultimate round at Legacy Phoenix. And then on Monday, we have a doubleheader. I will be in the booth for both of them. We will have the IndyCar Open Series at Watkins Glen, their Monday night top split. And then at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the ISRA Open Wheel Series at Motegi. So that's the next big set of races coming up on Sunday and Monday. Don't want to miss it. Tonight's coverage sponsored by EchoBlade by Sunset Arctic Games. EchoBlade is a puzzle combat dungeon explorer. You'll find yourself blind and trapped inside of an expansive tower labyrinth shrouded in total darkness. You must navigate your way to freedom only using sound as your guide. To learn more or to buy EchoBlade, you want to buy EchoBlade for sure. You want to find it on Steam. You can find it there today. All the links are in the description. Use it, buy it, get it, play it. You'll have a fun time. Track cans for this race are provided by Whiplash Sim Cans. Get the most out of your iRacing experience with Whiplash Sim Cans. To learn more about Whiplash, like them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter and X, or Twitter/X. The links are in the description. They're also on Instagram. For business inquiries and to learn more about P1 and what we do, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Keep saying Twitter. Just call it X. You can follow all of our social links on. I know it's the old habits are tough to break, but you can follow all of our links on Linktree. You can check them out. They are in the description. So for Stevie Larkamp, everyone here at the FIS and P1, I'm Gary Gotzo, the voice of the FIS, saying to all, good night And thanks for watching. And to all of our men and women serving in the military and its first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again right here in 2 weeks in Sebring for the next race of the Formula Indy Series on P1. Good night.